Hi, I'm Tamta, and I've been a game dev YouTuber for almost 5 years now, which is why I decided that I no longer want to do it anymore. At least not the way I used to do game dev YouTube. And for those of you who are starting to do game dev and also think about doing game dev YouTube, I would like to discourage you. The way that YouTube works, people think that it is very luck-based, and it is, but there are things you could and should do if you want to succeed as a YouTuber. One of the most important things is making content that people actually want to watch. For game dev YouTubers, there's two types of content essentially that you could make. One of them I would call performative content, and the other type is educational content. Performative content is a performance. So challenges, mostly challenges, honestly. Like, I made my dream game in 1 day, I made my dream game in 2 seconds, I made a game in 10 seconds. And this type of content actually doesn't really do anything to make you better as a game developer. Because the way that it works is you can't make a game in a week. At least not like a 3D game with weapons and fighting. So instead, what this type of content does is it mashes a bunch of existing tools and 3D models together in a very awkward way to make content in time. And don't get me wrong, this is in no way a lesser form of content, but it is a separate type of content. So if you're making performative content as a game dev YouTuber, you're doing a performance. And because of that, because it doesn't really help you with your actual job, game development, you end up with two jobs. The second type of content is educational content. It's tutorials, sure, but personally, I don't really like the feature-by-feature tutorials. An example of this type of content that I do like is content talking about general concepts or talking about concepts important for programming in depth. A good example of this is Freya Homer, Sebastian Lag, I hope I'm saying that name correctly. There were more, but I can't remember any right now. But this isn't really a separate job. Sure, it is hard to record and edit a video, but you aren't doing it for the content. You're doing it and then turning it into a content to view, so to say. And by the way, just a quick disclaimer, this isn't to say that the first type of game dev YouTubers are any less experienced than the second necessarily. It's just that they have two jobs. They're doing two jobs at the same time. I personally, so far, have been the first type. I've definitely been making performance content because that is the content that performs best. Because the educational content is for actual game developers, and the performance content is for a general audience. It's, I don't know, dreams sell. Who wouldn't watch a video about, oh hey, game development is so easy, I can make my dream game in 1 day, and then like mashes a bunch of 3D models together, and somebody who's not a game developer isn't going to understand that this isn't real, this is just a performance. Also, the reason why the first type of content is easier to make is because it is easier to make content around a topic when you don't know it deeply. Again, if you make performance content, if you're a entertainer, you don't necessarily know less than somebody who makes actual like sciencey type of content, but you do need to know game development very deeply to make the second type of content, which is why there has been no content lately on this YouTube channel. I have kind of been stepping back from YouTube and doing more game development stuff and trying to educate myself in that regard. Because throughout these 5 years of being a game dev YouTuber, I've learned a lot about the YouTube algorithm and how to make better thumbnails, how to catch attention, etc. But I didn't learn an awful lot about game development. But throughout this, I think it's been like half a year, maybe a year, I definitely learned a bunch more about game development, and I'm really happy with the results. Another reason I've been missing lately is because there's this new very cool hangout spot here in Georgia, Tbilisi, that every teen is at, and we've been having a lot of fun there. It's called In Front of the Parliament building. Yeah, the situation is really wild. We've been protesting for, how long has it been? I don't know. It's been like a couple months. And what is going on is the Russian government is trying to get Georgia under control too. Just the way they did with Ukraine, except there they're fighting with like missiles and bombs. Here they're fighting with soft power, and the government is corrupted. They have Russia's best interest at heart, and shit's pretty bad. They accepted this law, we call it the Russian law, which is a whole story that I'm not going to get too deeply into in this video, but I will leave some links down below. So good luck to us Georgians on that front, and no to Russian law. Hopefully we can overcome this shit. Anyway, what does that mean for this channel? What I'm doing right now is I would like to get hired in a game dev company, preferably somewhere in Europe. I've been doing a bunch of stuff for that. I've been studying C++ a lot because that's the most used language for game dev programming by most studios. I also want my internet presence to be GitHub and projects first and YouTube second. So what that means for the channel is I'm still going to be making videos. However, I will mostly be talking about the projects I upload to GitHub, and I have a Patreon now, by the way. I have my source codes there. Some of my source codes will be just public, the others will be on Patreon. This channel is going to be more of a documenting kind of thing. I'm going to be documenting my journey, as well as notifying people about stuff I make, because first of all, I'm going to make games still, but also I am going to make a bunch of open source projects. Now right now I'm making like small projects, and in the future hopefully also libraries for others to use in their games. Right now on my GitHub I uploaded a game of tic-tac-toe that I made entirely with C++, and if you're learning C++, it has pretty clean code. I think it would be pretty useful for you. One final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the name and thumbnail of this channel. I'm going to change the name of the channel to my real name because I want to put my name onto all of this. Hopefully that'll help me get a job, help me get into the industry, etc, etc. So starting August 1st, the name of this channel will be Tamta Satyani, which is my name. This is how you spell it. I wanted to learn in advance because YouTube is sort of where I have most of my views from, and so that you don't randomly see this in your subscribed and go, wait, who is that? Until August, I will also make a couple more videos, so I'll remind you guys again. I already changed my name on some platforms, like GitHub for example, and starting August 1st, just all of my platforms, Twitter, everything will be this, my name. If you're interested in that type of thing, if you're interested in game development, then subscribe. You can support me on Patreon if you'd like to see my source codes, or support me on Ko-fi. Thank you for watching.